All right, everybody. AG didn't want to do this show because he's still behind me, even though I had a terrible week. Um, I went 1-2, but so did he. So we are roughly the
Yeah,
same
I'm
distance apart units wise. So
I'm short about 4/10 of a unit. So we'll see how it goes this week,
yeah,
and I'm gonna try to creep back. I have a better record because of that one push that I
right.
got with the Giants Commanders money line. I had the Giants money line when they tied. But thanks to that push, my record is better. So I will just have
hmm
to gloat that for the rest of the offseason if I don't come
Well,
back
we'll
in units.
see.
But
We'll see
yeah,
if
we,
you'll
we
gloat.
shall see. We got a couple picks for this week coming up here.
Yeah,
This used to be the
week
last week of the
17.
season, but this is we got one more after this.
That's
So
right.
now that we got the extra game, but Chad's
Well,
on
see,
this
I
game
come
right
from
here.
an era. I come from an era, AG. I know you're young and I'm old, but like I come from an era when there were only 16 weeks in the season. There
Yeah,
were no bye weeks. This
yeah.
bye week nonsense was a fabrication that they just came up with like in the last 20 years, and we didn't have to deal with this in fantasy football back in the old days. You just played, and everybody played every week, and that was it. And then the other thing is, we didn't have all this other nonsense where like people were sitting out 2 or 3 weeks sometimes at the end of the season, just kind of sailing off and not finishing the season. But yes, we do have 2 remaining weeks, so I have a little bit of a chance to continue to distance myself from AG, and he has a chance to redeem himself.
We shall see. We shall see.
Yeah, this is one where I look at it and I see playing at home and having a Saints team that was kind of on the ropes. I saw the Browns like in a great position to get another win and add to it. I just don't think it's vibing with Deshaun Watson. I don't know how that offense is really coming together. It feels like they had more chemistry with Driscoll. And so I'm just going to roll with. I'm
Brissett.
sorry, Jacoby Brissett,
Yeah.
another Florida
That's funny.
quarterback.
Yeah.
They're all the same to me. I'm an LSU fan. All the Florida quarterbacks, white, black, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Fuck them. Who cares about the name, right?
Yeah, colorblind, but they're all Gators, as far as I'm concerned. So
We
anyway,
saw
but
one. We
yes,
saw
but
one with the
Jacoby
Jets
Brissett.
on Thursday Night Football.
That's
Tim
right. That's
Tebow
right.
clone in there.
That's right. So Jacoby Brissett seemed like they had more chemistry. It just seemed like a better overall team. And now doesn't mean that Deshaun Watson doesn't have more upside, doesn't have more potential and everything. But in this one, I like to go with the Commanders in this one. I like the way they're playing lately, even though they've had a couple little bumps along the way, especially that one against the Giants, where I think a lot of people thought they were going to actually take that one and run with it because they had a chance to really win that game when they tied. But I went searching through and I found the best line I could. Shout out to AG for putting me on to Action Network, where you can find your best lines. And the best line that they had for this one, you had the Commanders at -1.5, but it was at -110. So, well, actually, that was at -115 earlier. Hell, I might.
You want me to read? You want me to
Yeah,
switch
if I
this
can
up for
get the
you?
same, if I can get that 110,
At
if I can get that
-110,
minus
yeah. I'll
110
give
for
you
for
the
one
one
and a
and a half.
half, yeah,
I got
let's
you.
let's let's
There you
go.
go. It's up there.
Oh wait, no, wait. So this says open. What is? Oh, that's where it opened. Never. All right, never mind. All right, well you can put it back. That's my bad. So the best odds
I
right
wasn't
now are
looking at it.
still -2. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was looking at the
Okay.
open. So the odds are. See, I'm new to this, but to the Action Network to find all this stuff. But yeah, so the best odds we got are on BetMGM at -2 at -110, and that's what I'm going with. I figured like if they're going to win this game, it's going to be by a field goal or more. I'm not really going to try to play around and try to get cute with one extra point when it's something like that. Now, if it was a touchdown, if it was 6 versus 7, that's one thing, or if it was 3 versus 4, that's something else. But I'm not going to say like I really expect this to be a 1 point game, but not a 2 point game. I'm not going to be that goofy with it. So that's where I'm sticking. Commanders -2 in this matchup with the Browns, where I think the Commanders now have a chance to get back into the playoff picture and solidify that playoff spot, whereas the Browns are on the outside looking in, and they're just about guaranteed. I don't know if they're mathematically eliminated, but it's close.
Now, you mentioned Deshaun Watson not really having the same rhythm with the team and everything. Um, Obviously, the Commanders made a quarterback switch earlier in the season. Wentz was
Hmm.
injured, but they ended up rocking with Heineke. But that train might be coming to a stop. They might have reached their last stop last week as Wentz got into the game, and there was already rumors about it. The offense has just slowed down a little bit. There's a lot more film on Heineke now. Um, are you concerned at all that it might be
Yeah,
Wentz out there?
Yeah, well, I'm not as much concerned about the fact that Wentz would be out there. I actually think this looks better if Wentz is out there, and just like takes over the job. What concerns me more is if Heineke is put out there, but with Wentz breathing down his neck, where he's looking over his shoulder, and like, when am I?
Yeah.
Because that's not, like we've both played. You played at the collegiate level. I played in high school. Like, it's not something where you feel comfortable being yourself when you're also worried about, like, if I make one mistake, they got the hook ready for me.
Yeah, well, there's two
It's not a
thoughts there
position to be in.
because some players it motivates them, and some players
Mhm.
like I know if I had somebody breathing down my neck, I'm like, all right, I got to get busy or it's
Mhm,
rest.
mhm.
So but then there's
Yeah.
also some people their attitude towards it is like, oh, I mean, it's a mindset
Yeah.
thing. You gotta
Well,
and I guess Heineke seems like a kid with a lot of swag. You know what I mean? He has a lot of
yes.
confidence.
Yeah.
So I don't think that would necessarily hurt him as much. I mean, he was dealing with the rumors going into last week, and
Mhm.
it wasn't a great performance. He ended up getting benched.
Right.
So there is some merit to what you're saying. So I definitely do agree.
Well,
But
the reason why I say that is because of this particular situation. When it's a normal, like, if you're not performing and you know that there's somebody talented behind you and they're breathing down your neck, that's one thing. If you take over for someone who is injured and they weren't performing before they got injured, and you set the world on fire like Heineke did, where he's the reason the Commanders are in the playoff hunt to begin with. And then as soon as the other guy is healthy, they start talking about how you might lose your job. Like, for what? Why would I lose my job?
well, there was a few
Then
weeks. You
that's
know what I
where,
mean? It started slowing down.
yeah,
The offense actually started getting halted a lot, and
yeah,
and I think that's when they started really putting those rumors out. But
yeah.
I think
I
we've
don't know if it's,
exhausted this game. But
yeah, yes,
Chad's
yes.
definitely
But you
on
have
the
made me
Commanders
second guess
-2
myself.
there. You
It's
want
the
the
one I feel the least confident in.
-1.5 back?
No, it's fine. It's fine. No, I feel it's the one feel the least confident in. But I looked at this slate and I hate this slate this week. I don't like any of these games except the ones that I actually was able to find that I picked. The next one is so we're gonna go to yours. All right. So you
Yeah.
got the
So I
Bears
got
plus the 5.5. All right.
No, I'm not taking the Bears plus 5.5. I got we got the
Hmm.
Bears plus 5.5 at the Lions. I'm taking the over 52.5 here in this game.
Ah.
I just look the Lions defense. I gave them compliments on the show last weekend for how they've improved the rushing game defensively, and Carolina just blew them out of the water, just ran right through them. I think they were closing in on an NFL record for rushing yards for a team at one point in that game. At one point in that game, they were on pace to do it. So now we got a matchup problem with the Bears coming in.
Mhm.
So obviously they want to run the ball. Justin Fields, amazing running the ball as of late. Past I guess all season we could say at this point. But
Yeah.
yeah, and then I think the Lions are gonna, they were flat, man. They laid an egg offensively against that
Mhm.
Panthers team. Bears defense not quite as good as the Panthers defense, so I think they will be able to double back when the Bears put up some points. If this game goes anything like last week for the Lions and the Bears are running up and down the field, they're going to get some points from doing that because that's their
Mhm.
specialty. Just like, I mean, the Panthers, how much did they put up? Like 34 or something like that?
Right.
They put up a lot of points.
Yep.
And the Lions ended up putting up some points towards the end there. But I think they're capable of putting up points throughout the entire
Mhm.
game against the Bears defense. So yeah, I'm going to go with the over. It's a little bit of a high over. I don't normally like sniping them this high, but I'm going to rock with this one. Like Chad said, this slate isn't fantastic.
No, it's
You
not.
kind of got to find the things you love. But yeah, I'm rocking with the over.
Yeah, so I actually think so. I looked at this and I thought that my first thought was the Bears. I was riding them covering because they had been covering a good bit lately, and then they got blown out by the Bills this weekend. But then I look at the Lions and I'm like, man, well, the Lions didn't play that well. So I actually think this is a good play. I like the Bears to cover this and possibly even win this game outright. But that 52.5, I think that in order to get that done, they're going to have to keep up. They're going to have to score. And so I could see that number possibly going into the 60s. I could see this game in the 30s for both teams.
Yeah, and that Bears game, I mean, like you said, they ended up getting the they lost by what, like 20 something.
Yeah.
But It was very close. They were up at halftime.
It was close
if I'm not
early. Yeah,
mistaken.
yeah. It was close early. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a very good game for a
Mhm.
good portion of that. But the defense, the brakes kind of fell off. That was a weather game too, where it's like,
Yeah.
all right, well, the Bills weren't putting that many points up. What are the Lions going to put up? But there was other factors in that.
Right.
We're going to be in a dome for this one. That's something I didn't
Mhm.
mention either. We're in a dome for this one.
Right.
Overs in the dome with two electric offenses. You know, as bad as the Bears can be sometimes on offense, they are
Mhm.
electric because Justin Fields can take a 75-yarder to the house on any given play. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I'll take that.
And what were you saying? What were you saying last week about how you were just as soon as you applauded the Lions defense, they sold.
Yep.
So I'm with you on that. All right, so my next pick is the Jags -4 at the Texans. The Jags are now in position to win the AFC South, and that was something that I don't think anybody would have predicted 6-7 weeks ago. But here we are, and they've got a chance to go into Houston and get it done. This over-under is at 43.5, but the way that just the way that they're playing, the way Trevor Lawrence is playing, the way that the defense is playing, those receivers are getting it done. Travis Etienne getting it done. I like the Jags to just continue to plow through the Texans as so many teams have this season, and the Texans are kind of in that position where now they know that they can they can set their sights on that number 1 overall draft pick.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Like I said last week, I was like, the Texans, they can get a win in and still hold on to that number 1 pick. So I think this is the week they do it where they can hurt a divisional foe and their playoff chances and everything. And it worked out. To your point about how the Jags have been playing and they're in their prime position right now, best spot of the season where it's winning in. And the Texans on the other side have been playing a little bit over their heads as of late. The last few weeks, it's just been cover after cover after cover and then a win. As dogs and pretty, favorable dogs there. So, yeah, no, I completely am with you on this. I think that their luck might have ran out a little bit too with just how they just been playing over their talent level. It's kind of like the Giants were playing over their talent level in the beginning of the season, and then it ended up getting a little rough in the middle there. I think the Texans, they've had a good 4-week run here. This is a good spot for them to trip up. So I definitely agree.
and they used their mulligan last weekend. They can't win again and guarantee that they'll get the number 1 overall pick. They have to lose out to guarantee it. So I'm kind of thinking that we're back in that position where they were way back when they ended up drafting Mario Williams and they missed a field goal. They missed a field goal wide left to clinch the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, and it's and I think the Colts are the next one up there with 3 wins. So
and the Bears,
the way they've been playing, well, like the Bears, I'm not as worried. Like they might be able to get a win, like you said, this weekend even or next week.
Yeah.
Like the way the Colts are playing, and the experiment that they're having right now at quarterback is like, if I'm the Texans, I'm like, we cannot win because the Colts might steal this from us.
Right.
And I forget.
And that's in division too.
I was going to say, did they go 1-1 against each other, or do they play again? Is that the last matchup?
I don't know. Let me look that up. All right, while you pull yours up,
That's going to be a tough game to handicap if that game is for the who's going to take the worst. Right. I'm thinking all unders in that game.
Who wants it the least?
I forget. I can't remember the schedule.
So you pull up your next pick, and I'll find out what that schedule looks like.
All right. So this one, you guys are going to be surprised if you've been here a long time. I am always talking about how you should never take these huge spreads. Well, I don't always say never, but if you take the dog on these bigger spreads, you are profitable overall. But the thing is, if these never hit for the favorites, the books would just take them off the board. There would be no point in putting them up there because everybody would just be on one side. Right now, I know a lot of times they're going to fool the public either way on a play like this. But and I like the Chiefs in this one. Broncos all season long, they've been playing close games. There's like a stat out there where they would have started 8-3 if they scored 18 points in every game. That's all they needed because the Broncos were playing so good defensively. But me and Chad were talking about this a little bit pre-show. Like that wears out eventually. Like you can't sustain that level of play defensively for so long. And it feels like last weekend, Christmas Day, the wheels kind of fell off for that defense. Baker Mayfield and the Rams offense has been non-existent, and they went out and put up 50 points. Now I know there was a lot of defensive help there, but who's to say we're not going to get the same thing? The Chiefs obviously way more capable than the Rams of putting up points. Well, the Rams this year, I should say, because last year they were probably hit for hit right there. But yeah, the Broncos, they're not going to be able to put up points. They just fired their coach. Morale is probably at the lowest of lows for this team right now.
Mm-hmm.
And the Chiefs, I mean, that's just a bad team to run into in this case, especially almost a little bit of a revenge game. If I'm not mistaken, Patty Mahomes threw 3 picks a couple weeks ago against them. They were right in that game.
Mm-hmm.
Russell Wilson and Jerry Jeudy were cooking them. Like, I feel like the Chiefs are just going to come out and just, I mean, they could also coast.
Yeah.
Like, this could bite me in my ass because they don't really need it. But I just feel like the Broncos aren't going to be able to put up points. Even if they coast, the Chiefs can put up, a 28-10 win here or something like that.
Well,
so
firing Nathaniel Hackett and damn near everybody else on the staff isn't going to help them be all that much better. I can't say that it can make them be that much worse than they've been, when you look at the Broncos. But the other thing I would say is that what I've learned over the time that I've been watching football, 40 some odd years, you start to see these teams like the Chiefs, some of those teams that have been there multiple times. We talked about this earlier with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers before we came on the air, that it's hard to really gauge their Super Bowl prospects when they're still alive in the playoffs. Like, as bad as the Bucs look, they're still in the playoff hunt. And if they get in the playoffs, okay, are you going to put your house on them not winning the Super Bowl? I'm not. You know what I mean? Like, I'm
most of those guys have been there before, so
exactly.
Yeah. No,
there's a certain level where they pace themselves and they know when it's time to flip that switch. And I think the Chiefs are in that position where it's time to flip that switch. And against a divisional opponent, you're playing at home at Arrowhead. Like, there's all sorts of reasons why this makes sense. Now, to answer the question we had before about that Houston Indianapolis matchup, they met week 1, if you remember.
Yeah, I knew that.
They tied 2020. Right. So they are 0-1 against each other. And so if Indianapolis loses and Houston wins this weekend, they will be playing next week for which of those two teams ends up last in that division and last in the AFC. Now, the on the flip side of that is you do have the Bears.
What if they tie again?
If they tie again, then Indianapolis
comes to like points, I think, right?
Indianapolis is ahead. No, because it's a 2-game difference between the two. Indy's
Indy has 4 wins.
Yeah, Indy's 4-10-1.
Oh, that's different then.
12-1.
Okay. Never mind then.
So it would have to be. Yeah, it would have to be Indy.
The Texans
wins.
aren't going to win both. They're purposely not going to win both. It's
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I thought the Colts were at 3, so that's why. So they're they're worried about the Bears then. Yeah,
the Bears are the only competition because they have 3 wins. Yeah.
Right.
So, okay. And the Bears, if they both end up with 3 wins, the Bears get the number 1 pick because they didn't tie. They lost all those other games.
Right.
So, anyway.
Yeah, but the Texans aren't going to let that happen.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, so I definitely like the Jags pick because as good as they've been at keeping the games close and losing, 4 is a little bit of a tighter number than some of those other games have been. So, yep, I'm with you. All right, next one.
Yeah, so Niners, Raiders. The Raiders are officially bounced. They're out of the playoff hunt, and the 49ers and Raiders hate each other. But I think that at this point in the season, I don't know where the motivation comes for a lot of these Oakland players. I think a lot of these guys don't even probably understand or respect that rivalry anymore because they don't play each other like they used to. And I don't think it's the same, especially, now teams in Vegas, it's not this Oakland, San Francisco Bay rivalry anymore or anything like that. Like, it's just a different vibe altogether. So I just like the 49ers to continue to plug away. And the way that their offense is playing, and they're talking about Deebo Samuel possibly coming back. Like, they're just playing so well. That defense is insane. Bosa is just ridiculous coming off the edge. Like, it's just they're one of those squads that they are getting into prime form right before playoff time, just like you want to be. So I see this 6 number as a gimme, and I'm taking it. I'll give the Raiders those points, and I'll take the 49ers. And I hate to say that, though, Raider Nation loves to hate 49ers. And I do too, because look, I grew up a Saints fan, and the 49ers were in the Saints division, and I had to live through the whole Joe Montana, Steve Young, Bill Walsh, George Seifert, all those guys, I had to live through that whole era of getting just run by the 49ers. So I hate them too. I get it. But it is what it is. I'm going with the 49ers -6 in this game.
Raider Nation, I just want you guys to realize it's always Chad going against you. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
That's not true. I picked them one time.
All right, but on a serious note, though, you made a couple good points that I definitely
Listen,
would back up.
If Chewbacca is from Endor, you must have quit. That's all I'm going to say. It's a South Park reference. Don't take it out on me. It's not my fault.
But yeah, so the 49ers, like you said, they're getting into prime form at the perfect moment. Because a couple weeks ago, maybe like a week or two before that McCaffrey trade, people would have laughed at you if you said, "Oh no, this 49ers team is a Super Bowl team. Like they got the pieces that they need." And then, especially when Jimmy G went down, it was like, "Ooh, yeah, how's that looking now?" But the way Brock Purdy's playing, I mean, and I got a ticket in as soon as the trade happened from McCaffrey to the 49ers. And I got it right before the books dropped it because of the news and everything. So I'm hopeful maybe that'll happen. But yeah, I like that point. And then to your point about what do the Raiders even have to motivate them for this game? Josh Jacobs was in the locker room the other night after that Steelers loss and was just saying, like, I don't know what to do and nobody knows what to do. We work so hard and I'm tired of this shit. And like, the headline, of course, was, I think Josh Jacobs might be done in the Raiders. I'm not going to feed into any of that yet till the offseason, but this is a game where, what are they really playing for? I think most people in the locker room probably had the same feelings Josh Jacobs have. And the 49ers, they need it right now. You know what I mean? Like, this is their time to shine. So I definitely agree with you there. And then my last pick here. My last pick here is we got the Steelers +3 at the Ravens over under 36. I'm going to take under 36 in this game. This is Sunday night prime time. This Sunday night prime time Steelers Ravens classic type of game. And then the
classic 13-9 game.
Yeah, and we also don't have Lamar Jackson for the excitement of possibly putting up some points and dashing 150 yards or something. Huntley's capable, but hasn't done it. So yeah, I'm going to go with the under in this one for sure.
Yeah, no, I like that. I mean, that's just what was the score the first time they played?
I forget honestly, but
because
it.
Whatever it was, if it was over this number, it's guaranteed to be under that number the next time.
It was 16-14.
Okay, so it was under this number. And what I was going to say next is, and if it was under this number, there's no guarantee that the next time it's going to be over this number. So, because they're very likely to play both games under that number. This is just Ravens Steelers football. This is how it happens damn near every year my entire life.
Yeah, it's a low one. So it's scary.
Yeah, it's a low under. Yeah.
But I'm gonna ride it.
But you've got we're still looking at like Mitch Trubisky and Mason Rudolph versus Tyler Huntley as the quarterbacks, right? Like there's no Kenny Pickett, there's no Lamar Jackson, like and there's so many other guys who are banged up, and the Ravens are hanging on by a thread, and the Steelers are, they're doing their best to try to.
And the Ravens are in. So if they really want to sit some of their key guys too,
that's true.
Which that could hurt. That could hurt defensively. But the Steelers aren't a high-powered offense that's going to go out and put up a ton of points anyway. But whatever we're dealing with from the Ravens' offensive standpoint, like Mark Andrews might get a low snap count in a game like this.
Yeah.
Things like that.
And you do have Mike Tomlin. The one thing Mike Tomlin is that is at play here is Mike Tomlin is still alive to remain above 500 for another season, because the Steelers are only 7-8. So if he wins these last two, they're in with a winning record, and they might even be in the playoffs. So
yeah, they got a chance.
Yeah. Yep. So, but I think that continues to be like we know this game is going to go down to who has the ball the last couple of possessions of the fourth quarter. So let's not throw the game away early. And I could see that just being like a field position, punt the ball away, 3 and outs a lot, that sort of thing. And being content to let this game be settled in the fourth quarter, which means even more so that it's likely that it goes, 13-10, 13-9, something like that. No, I like it. I'm a little scared because I'm starting to second guess my Commander's pick now, but well, it is what it is.
Got him shaking in his boots,
I
guys.
picked it. I'm not shaking in my boots. I'm just feeling like I made a dumb move. That's all.
I just wanted to plant that in your head. I think they're better with Carson Wentz. I just wanted to get some doubt for you, you know.
I don't know. We'll see.
No, I'm
They
not.
weren't.
I don't know if I think
The
they're better than
record's not
Carson Wentz.
better.
I'm kind of
The
bullshit,
record,
but
the
yeah,
record's not better. But
we'll see.
that'll be fun. And that's why we do this when we do this show every week. We do it early so that we can give you like the window into these lines, because what we want to do is we want to monitor them, because by the time we get to Sunday, by the way, we are going to be here. I don't know about UAG. We haven't really talked about
I'll
this.
be here. Yeah,
I'll be here. It's New Year's Day. I don't
I'm
care.
working Saturday night, so I'm going to be the one serving the drink. So I'll be ready to go Sunday morning.
I'm going to be up all night Saturday night, and then I'll be here, bright and early Sunday morning, ready to do the show. But yeah, we're going to ring in the new year with you guys and give you the picks for those Sunday games for that new slate. So yeah, let's get it. Let's go, and we'll see where these lines are come Sunday.
Yeah, and we'll be back Thursday as well. And Chad, I forgot to mention this to you, but I'll do it on air real quick so that we have no choice but to do it now, because everybody heard it and now they're expecting it. We got to do a little futures live stream where people can come. We're going to talk about what we're thinking, maybe coach of the year, like not futures in just like, obviously, like it's late to call it coach of the year futures. You're not getting the same value and things like that, but just kind of talk about some of these end of season awards that you can bet on, and the playoffs, future for the Super Bowl, conference winners, things like that. So I think we should have a discussion where we bring our thoughts to the table, and then the live viewers as well. So we'll schedule that and figure that out. And then, maybe John Ryan and Big Mike Raider and a couple of the other guys that we've had on the channel, Ty, Picking Winners guys, will join in with us and give their thoughts and things like that. We'll figure something out. So
I'm down.
I think we should do that,
that.
this week or next week before we really get into the playoffs starting. So
for sure. Yeah, we'll set it up.
Definitely.
I'm definitely down to do that for sure.
Sounds good. So if you're interested in that, hit subscribe, hit like, hit the comment button. Let us know what you think about the picks for this week. And we'll update you guys if things change. We're locked in on this number regardless for the purposes of this contest. But by Sunday, sometimes some of these lines move. And there's been times where we get on Sunday and we're like, well, I hope I'm wrong with my feeling today, because I already locked this pick in on Tuesday with you guys. But I think I was wrong. So I would advise against it if you didn't play it yet. And there's been times where it worked out that way. So we'll definitely stay tuned, and we'll be here Thursday night for sure. And then whenever we end up doing that futures episode, when everyone's available. So
yeah, I dig it. Let's go. All right, y'all.
Happy betting, everybody.
Happy betting. Peace.
Peace.